Hey guys, welcome back to Between the Lines, the book club for passionate people where we discuss books all about leadership, culture, habits to get us producing at our peak production in both work and our lives. I'm here with our co-host Katie Clancy, and today we are going to discuss The Slight Edge. I'm pretty excited about this book. I know you are as well. But before we dive into the book, Katie and I decided to switch things up a little bit. So I want to let you guys know about some changes over here at Between the Lines, where we will now be dropping our episodes on the 15th of every month, both our podcast episodes and our videos. So you can look for those where you listen to all of your favorite podcasts on all of those streaming services, as well as our Facebook page or YouTube. That's when you'll see our new episodes. Want to make it a little bit more predictable for you guys. So, Katie, tell me about The Slight Edge. I really loved this book, but I know you kind of throughout the month got into it. So tell me what you thought.
Yeah. Okay. So I knew about so we've had this book in our house for a very long time. Actually, I didn't go out and purchase it. And it was actually my husband who had read it. And I don't even remember what year it was. So this particular version came out in 2005. What's the copyright on yours? I'm just curious.
Oh, I don't know if mine's the newer version. Let's see.
I don't know if anything got changed.
I don't believe so. Mine is still copyright 2005 to 2013 is what it says.
Okay, so who knows? But my point is this: I definitely didn't have in 2013. This has been in my house. This mojo has been in my aura for a while. But I was like, I should really read it. And I remember him telling about it, blah blah blah. And so a lot has happened since 2005 or whenever we happened to buy it, and a lot of I've read a lot of books. I've done a lot of this work. So
I was a freshman in college in 2005.
I was a freshman in college. Okay. I had 100 kids, but whatever. Actually, I only had 3 at that point.
Oh, okay.
So my big takeaway, it was kind of funny, and I'm going to be one of the things that you guys, if you don't already know about us, we don't pull any punches. We will be completely honest about our feedback in these books. We haven't loved every book we've read, and we haven't loved every part of every book we've read, but we've taken something from all of them. And so I did not enjoy the first half of this book because I was like, tell me something I don't know. I've been down a lot of these roads, and it was a lot of theory. I'm not going to say it was useless because I needed to be reminded of a few things. And you know what I actually found? So one thing that I did like from the beginning of the book, I'm not going to throw it all out, is this page. The cost of waiting.
Yes.
And that dollar example really blew my mind. And you guys can look at it and see what that's all about. I was like, wow. Really.
But here's what's funny, Katie. So when I was reading the first part of the book, one of the big takeaways I had just reading that first part is you already know these things. So you actually got the entire point of the first half of the book. If you were like, yeah, I know this, like that was Jeff Olsen's point in saying it of, you know what it takes to be successful. You know what actions you have to repeat. The problem or kind of the slight edge, as they say, is the implementation part, which is kind of what we all struggle with. So, I mean, I think it's a good takeaway, but it's funny to me that was what you weren't connecting with because you were like, yeah, I already know this. He's like, yeah, I know you do. That's the point.
Well, you're right. Because then as I go on, he's like, then why are you reading this book? If you got it all figured out, then what's keeping your face in this book? And truly, I know what's in the second half. The second half is all the implementation, all my favorite stuff. What do I have to do? And I'm the one who every day is preaching mindset. And I'm like, yeah, except for me. I just want to get right to where's the quiz? Where's the accountability thing that I have to do? But I didn't go straight to that. I read through this. So it was definitely time well spent, but a really interesting, I mean, you weren't talking about the takeaways. It was really a takeaway of how I responded to this book.
I love that.
And actually you and I had a conversation earlier today about how we preach all this stuff and I know all this stuff and we do so much on faith. And until it actually starts to happen, you don't really believe it. So this is a humbling book for me.
Yes. And I mean, I think you're right. Like that was my same takeaway. Like, he talks about in chapter 2 early on. So I guess that was one of my favorite parts is he talks about your philosophy creates your attitude. which drives your actions, which drive your results, which drive all of your life. And I mean, as you well know, that's the meat and potatoes of what I do as a coach. But what I loved about that is throughout this book, I felt like I got his point. He's right. Like, success is boring at its core.
Yes.
It's mundane. It's repetitive. We know what we have to do. We just sometimes avoid doing those. So for those of you guys that didn't read the book, and in our summary portion, we said the slight edge is that mindset shift. It's that catalyst that says, okay, even though it's boring, even though I don't really want to go do it today, I know it's going to drive the results. And for me, like, and he references it in the book, but did you not have Darren Hardy compound effect ringing in your head?
Absolutely. Alyssa, seriously, like the conversation so Alyssa and I had a phone conversation before we started this show, and I'm like, Alyssa, basically the conversation was, I was giving her news about my business and stuff that was going great. I was like, this shit actually works.
It's true.
Oh, I mean, we know it intuitively, but we have all these doubts. Like, I don't know if it really does, but I'm going to take a chance and try to do it anyways. And I am going to actually drop in because it's so important. I didn't tell you this. Yesterday, the president of our company came in, and he was in town visiting all the offices, whatever. And he interviews the top producers. Well, I'm doing really well. So I was one of the people who got interviewed, and he talked quickly for us. Okay, so before we start the interview, what was your volume last year? What's your volume this year? And my volume last year was the biggest it's ever been, ever.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But then he asked me what this year's was. And I was like, holy crap. I'm on track to almost double the best year of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the slight edge. Let's talk about the compound effect. Let's talk about that suddenly, and that was in the entire first half, about the water lilies. Right? Do you remember the metaphor?
Yes, yeah, it's such a good point. It's and like, isn't that the thing that gets us totally off track half the time? Like, he used the example, the phrase plant, cultivate, harvest. And so many of us go to like I want to double my production, or I've got this big idea to, why didn't I do that? And we lose all of it in the cultivation phase.
It's good.
The easiest analogy that I always tell everybody is like with diet and exercise. Like, everybody says in January, I want to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it is. And as you and I know, as gym goers, we hate going to the gym in January because it's so crowded, because everyone has it. But the cultivation phase is February to December.
Yes.
And that's when nobody's there.
Exactly.
Because nobody's continuing to execute because they're not getting those instant results.
Yeah.
So I'm curious for you, where has that slight edge kind of come in your business or in your mindset of like, okay, this is what I want to achieve. You're not able to do it immediately. Like, how do you stay on track with that cultivation?
So there's a million little things. I can't say it's one thing. It's so funny. In the interview, he actually asked me, he said, how'd you do that? How'd you double your business in a year? I'm like, I took a magic pill and then suddenly it doubled. It's like, no, I said, listen, it's the cumulative effect of stuff I've been doing for a long time. So I can tell you there's a million of them, but one of them that's really standing out to me for my business. So I am a business owner. I'm responsible for making the rain. I've got to feed other people. I've got to keep other people busy. So I'm good at that rainmaking part. Right. And one of my favorite things to do and my most effective, the place where I'm most effective, so I know myself, is being out there socially. So first I didn't have any money. So if you're out there and you're trying to build something, and what's the slight edge for me? You don't have any money. All right, well, go to a free event and invite someone with you and then post about it. Look, we did this. All right, great. So then, or go to a free event, or the best part, I think the best thing that you can do if you're a social person and the events are your thing, is create a free event. Mm-hmm. And my free event that I started doing is these dog walks. And we were doing them every month. We would just do a dog walk. We'd meet somewhere and I would advertise it on social, and then we just make friends and we would go do it. Didn't cost me any money. We got people together. I got to know people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Know that I got business from those dog walks? I have no idea. But since I did the dog walks, Someone told me once, show up to the parties that the people you want to work with are at. So
Yeah.
I put together the ticket price to go to these charity auctions. I didn't buy a damn thing because I couldn't, I'm the first bidder on all the silent auctions. Like, I hope I win something. You know, you're not going to.
Yeah.
I bid $5 on, all these $200 items.
Totally.
But I go and I go and I go until finally I had a few extra dollars. And so I bought myself actually in between, I would sponsor like a road race and they give you 2 extra bibs.
Yeah.
I raffle them off. I give them out to people. I promote it. So you give. And then finally I've hit this crazy point where like I can buy a whole table at a charity event and invite my clients.
Yeah.
And now they're like, wow, this is amazing. And I feel like I've just hit that now.
So let me pull something out of what you're saying though, because I think it's really important. I think a lot of us would gloss over this. So Olsen in the book makes the point that success does not equal happiness. And I would argue, and you would probably agree with me and tell me if you don't, is that the mere fact of doubling your business financially, while that may alleviate some pressure and some stress, that's not what's driving your happiness. It's not that you're achieving that goal that's making you happy. What's truly making you happy, and this is why I think so many people will gloss over this, is you're able to succeed and be successful doing things that make you happy, that you like. You're able to be around dogs. You're able to incorporate charities that you believe in. You're able to do things like road races or exercise at the gym, and that's where you're making your connections. And so I think like one of my big takeaways in terms of what he was talking about in terms of attitudes and actions and results is like part of what gets me back to the gym every day is that I like the people I see when I'm there,
Yes.
and part of what is going to continue to get people to pick up the phone, whether in any kind of business and prospect and call potential customers, is that they like the people that they're working with.
Yes.
Or that they really do believe in or support the causes that they're financially supporting. So I think that's such a big part of what we're doing that so many people gloss over. They see kind of this instant success. Because that's when you get the stage time or the notoriety once you've always done it. And they're not seeing how you've done this. And you, especially when I look at people who have built their business in this way, you've really incorporated things that you enjoy and your life into your business. And that is, for me, that was the tipping point when I look at your business of when you went from I'm doing all right to like I'm crushing it.
Yes, absolutely. But be clear, one of the other things that he says in here is we're designed to be comfortable. We're programmed for ease and comfort, and we're not at all. So nobody should ever expect to like what you actually do at the gym. I mean, listen, if you like burpees, great, more power too. There are some actual things that I love to do, movements that I'm really good at and I'm comfortable with. There's a million things I'm uncomfortable with, but I always get more out of the uncomfortable stuff, right? Yeah. So it's not that I love everything I do at the gym, but I found a gym, you found a gym, we found a place where we like to go because we connected. We like the experience of being there. And for us, it's the people. Yeah. And it's actually true for a lot of people to try to find a gym situation where they're comfortable is like you like the environment. So we're programmed
towards a workplace thing too. It's like if you're finding a company you want to work with, like it takes work to find your village. It takes work. I mean, it's where you live, it's where you work, it's where you breathe. Like you've got to like where you're going every day in order to produce at peak production.
Yes.
So I think that's so underrated though, is we kind of got in our mindset. And to me, I don't mean to be an ageist here, but it's sort of a baby boomer attitude. And both my parents are baby boomers, and my dad's had this conversation with me before where I guess a millennial. And he says to me, when I was raised, we were raised to get a job out of college and stay there until we retired. And so like the idea of going to work was like, this sucks, but it's something I have to do. And it didn't really matter if you liked the people you worked with. It was just a product of what you were doing. And I think like generationally, you've seen that shift happen too, where people are like, no, I may work longer hours. I may do different things, but I'm going to spend half my life at work. So hell, I'm going to like the people I'm around.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's a huge point. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can actually produce more and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But back to, the slight edge piece, there's no way to avoid, like, just because we're talking about, oh, be with the people you love, but you're still grinding.
Yeah,
like,
no question.
There's still plenty of stuff you don't want to do, or you don't want to do it for that long. Like, I don't want to, like, I love going to parties, but I don't want to go to all the parties. Like, I'm exhausted.
Right.
But you know what? You have to go to one more because that's what you've committed to. And so that's what you're doing. I've got 2 more events going on this weekend, and they're not small, and I'm tired, but if this is the path I've chosen, I've got to work it.
Right. Exactly. I think you were actually who said it to me at some point of like, if you commit to something, you can't show up half-assed, because all of those people you probably use something a little more eloquent than that. You can't show up half-assed because the people that you're interacting with there are constantly interviewing. Like, you're constantly about.
Hey, hold that thought. I'm going to shut the door because my dogs are jerks.
Yes, absolutely. But for our audience members, like, you are constantly interviewing. You're constantly being evaluated by people around you. So, for instance, if you decide, hey, I want to build my local business by being a member of the PTA, you can't be late to every meeting or cancel on the meetings or not bring the things you're supposed to or show up prepared. Like, that is all a reflection of how people believe you'll come to the task that they hire you to do. Mm-hmm. So I loved that point of like, that also brings us to like a whole other conversation, which we're not going to get into on this episode, of like, you've got to say no to things, and you've got to.
There's a whole book on that, honey. We can do that next month.
We'll find a book on that one. So tell me this, Katie. So we've given our big takeaways.
Yep.
One of the things I think is really important when we talk about these books is I have made a conscious effort each month to not just live these takeaways to record a video with you, but to try and incorporate them into my life and my business and my daily habits. So from the slight edge, what is a commitment that you can make that you will do differently moving forward? Or attempt? A commitment
that I'll make, and I'm going to have to fess up on it at next month.
Yes, I'm going to call you out.
Like, all you people are going to be like, did Katie do the thing? All right. So I actually have thought about this because I was a bit of a brat when I read this book. And it's funny. It's so weird that like the way your head goes. So I was like, I know all this stuff. Then I'm like, holy crap, I know all this stuff and I already did it. So I don't need to do any of this stuff in the second half.
Yeah.
The second half of this book is full of like these little quizzes and like little worksheets and like amazing things. Cause you're never there. Just because I hit like this great achievement, that's great. I'm going to pat myself on the back, but I got work to do. So I commit. I'm going to reread the second half and I'm going to do every single action step in it. And when we talk next, I will report on one of them because there's a lot in here, but I'll do all of them. Second half, I'll actually really do what the book says.
I like that. I think that's a really good one. That's definitely a good one.
What are you going to do?
Oh, so I have put a reminder in my calendar. I tend to be not one of those people that's like, I have to succeed instantly, but I like to see impact of my actions fairly instantly. And so sometimes I can get really hard on myself because I try to hold myself accountable of like, man, I'm doing this. And if I mess up, like I'm either not seeing the results, or if I mess up, like now I should just give it up. I just try. So I've put a reminder in my calendar each week to ask myself, are you cultivating? Because I'm really good at the planting. I'm really good at the starting, and I'm really good at working with the results. But the cultivation part is a good reminder for me to slow down.
I'm going to tweak this for you a little bit, okay? Yeah. I'm going to change the question, and the question's going to be, in the morning, what am I going to cultivate today?
I love this.
And at the end of the day, what did I cultivate today?
Yes.
This might not be the same answer.
It's good too, because what that does is it sets the intention and it's reflective enough to say, hey, am I taking the time to do this? Because I think sometimes what I don't do is have that reflection piece of it, of either patting myself on the back or saying like, here's these things that you need to adjust.
I would say that is actually a big thing that I knowing you, that giving yourself a little party for what you did right and what you followed through on is worth doing before you just like fly on to the next thing. So that's what you get to do at the end of the day.
And here I have a part 2 to my cultivation period. I am going to make a conscious effort once a day to praise someone that I see cultivating.
Ooh, so you're going to be on the lookout for cultivation.
Yes. And that goes from things that my kids are working on, like these long-term goals that they might have, to clients, to people around the office. Because I think that's the thing is like society rewards our results.
Yeah.
But we don't really pat people on the back for like the trudging, like
just for the grunt work.
Yeah. And I think that we all need that sometimes, because I think the not patting each other on the back and not getting any reward from the toughness is what causes us to give up on it. So I want to be really intentional about trying to praise when I see that out in the wild.
I'm so excited to see what happens with that.
I know, right? I know. So our next book, you have gotten started on it. It's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. You referenced this book, I believe, last month and last episode. And I have not started it yet. So go ahead, tell the folks kind of what the deal is with this book.
So David Goggins is many things. But above all, he's just a person, just like you and me, really just a person. And the whole book called Can't Hurt Me is about the power of your mind and how it can just supersede really almost anything. And he realized that because he's been through some just abject suffering. So he's experienced this transcendence, this, mind thing through physical challenge and through emotional challenge. I will warn you, if you're a mama, the first part of it is hard to read, and just suck it up. Okay. Because if you shy away from hard things like that, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. You're also not going to help yourself. And it's real. The world is not all sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows. That is, and there's a purpose. Yeah. The cool thing about it, there's a purpose to the stories. There's a purpose to the suffering. And that was there's real purpose to it if you can hook into it. And there is nothing special about this guy.
Well, and keep in mind too, because I want to stop you there because I think this is important. As I said, and I said it when we invited you into this book club, Between the Lines is about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's about us growing in work and in life. And that requires that we listen to some difficult stuff or read some difficult stuff. Katie, you had given a tip too that not only reading, but you had suggested listening to this book. Why do you think that is helpful?
So David Goggins is an incredible, he's he can do amazing things physically. He's a crappy writer. Thank God he's bad at something. And so he brought a ghostwriter in, and I haven't listened to, he's actually been on this guy's podcast, and there's a lot of history about it that I actually don't know, but they ended up deciding to do the audiobook in sort of a podcast format. So they would, the ghostwriter reads the chapter and then they have a conversation about it, and it brings it to a whole other level. It's not hypothetical at all. He's like, when that happened, you go back and forth from it. It really drives it home. And it also kept, honestly, my attention. Yeah. I was interested because I'd be listening to a part where I'm like, wow, did that, I kind of get lost in a little bit, and then boom, I hear the conversation and I'm listening on a whole new level. So I found that it was really engaging. And I got, all the way through the book, which doesn't always happen. So I would say download it on Audible as well.
I love that. Well, I'm super excited to read it. So just so that you guys know, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear what your takeaways are, and we want to help hold you accountable to what you're going to do differently after you read these books. So feel free to drop down there in the comments what you guys are doing differently or what your big takeaways are. We're always watching and always going to respond to you guys and engage with you. It's what we're here for. We want to help everybody grow. So we cannot wait. I cannot wait, at least, to read this one and listen to it. And the new episode, just a reminder, it'll drop September 15th on iTunes and all of your favorite podcasting streaming services. Of course, on our Facebook page, the Compass South Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. So keep an eye out for us, and we will see you guys then. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.